Oxford Bookworms Library. Stage 1. William and Kate by Christine Lindop. Read by Danica Fairman. Published and copyright Oxford University Press 2013. Chapter 1. The Big Day Begins. The sun is coming up over London, and the city is coming alive. There are always lots of visitors in London, but today something is different. On the Mall, some of the visitors are sleeping in chairs near the road, and others are standing and talking. More and more people are walking, driving, and taking trains into the city. They come from towns and cities all over the UK, and from other countries too. Later in the morning, in the Goring Hotel in Belgravia, a young woman is getting ready for a very special day. Her parents, her sister and her brother are there in the hotel with her. She must do her hair and face, and then put on a very special dress. Everyone wants to know about her dress, but they must wait. At the same time, not far away, a young man is getting ready too. He and his brother put on their uniforms, red for him, black for his brother. They laugh and talk together. The young woman is Kate Middleton, and the young man is Prince William, one day the King of the United Kingdom. Today is their wedding day, and on this day, two very different families come together, the royal family and the Middleton family. Chapter 2. Two Families. William comes from a very important family, and his grandmother is one of the richest and most famous women in the world. She is Queen Elizabeth II, Queen of the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland, and of 15 other countries. She is married to Prince Philip, and they have 4 children, 3 sons and a daughter. The Queen's oldest son, Prince Charles, is William's father. His mother was a very famous woman too. She was Princess Diana. William was born in 1982. He was Charles and Diana's first child. They had a second son, Prince Harry, in 1984. Because he is part of the royal family, William is always in the public eye. Photographers, newspaper reporters, and TV cameras are part of his everyday life. When he was a child, his home was a big palace with many rooms and beautiful gardens. And he lives in a palace now for some of the time too. Kate comes from a very different family. Her parents are Michael and Carol Middleton. They met when they worked for British Airways. Kate is their oldest child, and she has a sister, Pippa, and a brother, James. When Kate was 6 years old, Carol Middleton began a business called Party Pieces, and later Michael Middleton worked in the business with her. it made a lot of money for the family. But they do not live in a palace. Two young people. One is from a royal family, and the other is not. Many years ago, a marriage like this could not happen. But more royal weddings in countries around the world are like this now. For example, in 2005, Prince Felipe of Spain married Letizia Ortiz Rocasolano. Before she married him, she was a TV reporter. And in the same year, Princess Sayako of Japan left the Japanese royal family when she married Yoshiki Kuroda. Today's princes and princesses do not always marry people from royal families. Chapter 3. A Young Prince. William Arthur Philip Louis was born in London on the 21st of June, 1982. He lived at Kensington Palace with his parents, Prince Charles and Princess Diana. When he was only 9 months old, his parents made an official visit to Australia and New Zealand. His mother did not want to be away from William for 6 weeks, so the little prince went with his parents. Before he could walk or talk, William began to go around the world. William's brother Harry was born 2 years later, in 1984. The two little boys enjoyed playing together at the palace. Young children in the royal family usually had lessons at home, but Princess Diana changed things. When William was 3 years old, he began to go to school in London with other young children. When he was 8, he went to Ludgrove School, about 60 kilometres away from London. He lived at the school and only went home once a month. At first, he was unhappy, but he soon began to enjoy football and other sports. Later, his brother Harry came to the school too. But things were not good at home, and in December 1992, there was bad news. Princess Diana came to see William at his school. She and Prince Charles were not a couple anymore. William was very unhappy about this. In 1995, William went to the famous Eton College. It is near Windsor Castle, so William could go there and see his grandmother, the Queen, from time to time. William worked well at school and was good at football and other sports. Then, on the 31st of August 1997, there was terrible news for William. His mother, the beautiful Princess Diana, was dead after a very bad car accident in Paris. On the 6th of September, William walked behind his mother's body, through the streets of London to Westminster Abbey. Prince Harry, Prince Charles, Prince Philip, and Diana's brother, Earl Spencer, walked with him. Everyone felt sorry for the two young princes. It was a terrible day for the British royal family. William left Eton in the summer of 2000, but he did not go to university at once. He had a gap year, a year between school and university. He did a lot of different things in his gap year, and some of them were not very usual for a prince. He went to Chile for 10 weeks and worked as a teacher. After work every day, he cleaned the rooms and cooked with the other teachers. He also helped to make new buildings. Later, he also worked in England on a farm with animals. He got up very early in the morning, and he did not get very much money for his work. At the end of summer 2001, William was ready to go to university. He wanted to learn about art history. On a sunny September day in 2001, Prince Charles drove his son not to Oxford or Cambridge, but north, to Scotland. Thousands of people waited in a little Scottish town to see the young prince when he arrived. He was now a student at the University of St Andrews. Chapter 4. Kate's Early Years. Catherine Elizabeth Middleton, very often called Kate, was born on the 9th of January 1982 in Reading, in the south of England. So she is 5 months older than William. Her sister Pippa was born the next year. In 1984, her father's work took him to Amman in Jordan. So Michael and Carol Middleton went to live there for 2 years with their 2 young daughters. In 1986, they came back to England, to their home in Berkshire, in the village of Bradfield Southend. Kate began school here and enjoyed playing with her sister and children in the village. Her brother James, the last of the Middletons' 3 children, was born in April 1987. Kate did well at her schoolwork, but she also enjoyed doing sport. She was good at tennis and hockey, and she liked running too. In 1995, her family moved to a new home near Bucklebury, but Kate was not there for very long. She went away from home to Marlborough College in Wiltshire. At first, she wanted to be at home with her family, but then she began to make friends. She played in hockey and tennis teams for the school, and she did very well in her lessons too. Now she was a beautiful young woman, and she enjoyed her last months at Marlborough. She left in July 2000. Like William, she did not go to university that year. She had a gap year too. First, she went to Florence, in Italy, for 3 months. Florence is famous for its art, and Kate went to see a lot of pictures in the city. She also learned Italian, went out with friends, and enjoyed taking photographs. After Christmas at home with her family, Kate went to Chile, just like William. His visit was from October to December 2000, and she went there in January 2001, so they did not meet. She helped to make a new building, and she also worked as a teacher for a time. And then, back in England, Kate got ready to go to St Andrews as a student of art history. No photographers waited at her Berkshire home when she left there in September 2001. No television cameras photographed her when she arrived at the University of St Andrews. But it was the beginning of a very different life for Kate. Chapter 5. St Andrews. The little town of St Andrews is next to the sea, in the east of Scotland. It is very famous for golf. People began to play golf there in the 1500s, or perhaps earlier. Now, golfers come from all over the world to play there. The University of St Andrews is very old. It first opened in 1413, and it is the oldest university in Scotland, and the third oldest in the UK, after Oxford and Cambridge. It has more than 8,000 students. The beginning of the university year was very different for Kate and William. Kate was soon busy with student life, and she enjoyed Raisin Weekend. This is a special weekend at the university. On these 2 days in November, a new student meets their student mother and father. These older students help them in their first year. Everybody enjoys these 2 noisy days, but William's first weeks at the university were very quiet. William and Kate lived in the same building, were students of art history, and had some of the same friends. In March 2002, Kate was in a fashion show at the university, and William and some friends went to watch. Girls in wonderful dresses walked up and down. Kate came out in a beautiful coloured jumper at first, but then she walked out in a very exciting black dress, and she looked wonderful. In 2011, The designer got £78,000 for the dress. Soon, William and Kate were friends. Later, William said, "We were friends for over a year first." In their second year, many students do not live at the university. They find a flat or house in the town and live there together. William and some friends did this in 2002. The 4 friends cleaned the flat and did some of the cooking. Sometimes William began to cook dinner for Kate there. But often things went wrong, and then Kate finished cooking for them. In the summer of 2003, Kate was 21, and William went to a party at her parents' house in Berkshire. Other friends from St Andrews were there too. Later, Prince Charles had an African party for William's 21st birthday at Windsor Castle. It was not an official party with suits and speeches. The guests wore African clothes, and African musicians played for them. Kate was one of the guests at the party. In September 2003, they began their 3rd year at university. Now, William moved to a house in the country called Balgove House. It was not far from the town and the university, but it was a quiet place, away from photographers and reporters. Then in March 2004, William and Kate were in the news together. They went to Klosters in Switzerland on a skiing holiday with some friends, and William's father, Prince Charles. Soon, newspapers all over the world had a photo of William with Kate. Now everybody wanted to know, who is Kate Middleton? The newspapers started to write about Will and Kate as a couple. September 2004 was the beginning of their last year at St Andrews. There were often photos of William at weddings and parties without Kate. She was not part of the royal family, so she could not always go with him. But they were boyfriend and girlfriend. Then in June 2005, they graduated from St Andrews. The Queen, Prince Philip, and Prince Charles all came up to Scotland for the special ceremony. Kate's mother and father were there too, but the two families did not meet. It was the end of William and Kate's happy university life. But what was next for these two young people? Chapter 6. Together and After. Now a new life began for William and Kate. A more public life. Soon after graduation, William went to New Zealand for the second time. It was his first official visit to a country and he stayed there for 11 days. Then it was time for a holiday. William went to Liwa Downs in Kenya and stayed there for a month. Later, Kate and some of their friends went there for a holiday with him. But the holiday in this quiet, beautiful place was soon over. William began to have a very busy time. He worked in the City of London and learned about banks. He also worked at the Football Association and at Chatsworth House, a big country house in Derbyshire, in the north of England. In December, he spent 2 weeks with a mountain rescue team. After a skiing holiday at Closters in January 2006, Kate and William said goodbye. William went to Sandhurst to learn to be an army officer and stayed there for 44 weeks. Like all the other officers, William needed to do a lot of work, and he did not see Kate very often. Things were not easy for Kate. She needed to find work, but she was the girlfriend of a prince. Photographers ran after her in the street and waited near her house. For a lot of the time, she worked in her parents' business. There she could get away from the newspapers. In November 2006, she began to work with a women's clothes business called Jigsaw. It has shops in many bigger towns in the UK. The next month, William graduated from Sandhurst, and Kate and her parents were at the ceremony. But in 2007, things did not get better. Life is not easy when you are the wife, husband, girlfriend or boyfriend of someone in the royal family. Reporters and photographers from the newspapers and the TV watch you all the time. You cannot go out of the house in old clothes. You must always look your best. Every walk in the street and every visit to the shops can be in the newspapers. Not everyone can live like this, and couples in the public eye often stop being together. Of the Queen's 4 children, only the youngest, Prince Edward, is in his first marriage. At 24, William was not ready to get married. He was very busy in the army in Dorset, and Kate worked 100 miles away in London. Sometimes there were pictures in the newspapers of William with other girls too. In April 2007, the news came at last. William and Kate were not boyfriend and girlfriend anymore. Kate went back to live at her parents' house, away from London and the cameras.